and jump on radiofreefargo.org. Again, right before me was Side Stage with Trav 1 to 3. A little bit of automation by my boy Fred, spelled with a P. And then, boom, you got Canna Talkin' D with Wilson. That's me. I'm Wilson. Welcome, everybody. Hello. What a beautiful day here in Fargo-Moorhead. Man, oh man, is it a good one to talk about cannabis legalization, the benefits of cannabis, and cannabis in general. That's what I do, and I intersperse it with some jams, so I'm not going to leave you, just stuck listening to this voice, even though, you could listen to worse voices. I'll let you have some music, too. 420, we open a big fat bag of cannabis news. This Thursday's no different. I want to apologize for not being here Thursday, but I will say that if I never do a show on Thursday and you come at 4 o'clock and I'm not here, I will make it up usually on Saturdays around 1 or 2 o'clock. This particular Saturday, I was out of town in Bismarck. Bop, 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 bop. So again, I apologize, but North Dakota has a legalization initiative that will be voted on in November. New Approach North Dakota has garnered the signatures, and that's exciting. And so in November, you're going to get to decide whether we get recreational cannabis. And the coolest thing is the 3 plants, as far as I'm concerned. You're going to be able to grow, get to practice. Try your hand at your green thumbery. And again, Canna Talkin' D with Wilson. I'm Wilson. Every Thursday, I get in here. KRFF 95.9 is gracious enough to let me spout out about the benefits of cannabis, medically, and in general. And again, in November, tell your friends, let's vote yes on Measure 2 to get cannabis recreationally involved in our reality here in the state of North Dakota. We'll talk about it at 420. I got a couple articles I'm going to read pertaining to the upcoming ballot initiative, Measure 2, that we'll talk about in like 20 minutes. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Or you can grab the products downtown here at Tochi. The body butter, it's made with kosher full spectrum CBD, North Dakota grown hemp, 1,600 mgs to be exact, a bunch of butters, turmeric, sage, rosemary, great for hydration of the face, neck, and hair, good for foot, fungi, neuropathy, pain, you name it. It's got you taken care of. Again, thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring Canna Talkin' D with Wilson. Now, directly after me is Stinky Arts Music Mart, but not today. He's still under the weather. So I can breathe easier because there's just a lot less stink here. But you all that enjoy it will be looking forward to his return, which I would assume is next Thursday. Again, I believe cannabis was created by our Creator, God Himself, who I worship solely at Antioch Church, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. I'm on stick duty. So if you want to see somebody almost as good as Neil Peart, rest in peace, come check your boy out. But again, let me tell you about Inform, best of the Red River Valley. Inform is a .com. It's the news from the Fargo Forum. Radio Free Fargo has been nominated for the best radio station in the Inform newspaper, which of course we are. Please vote for 95.9 Radio Free Fargo, and also for This Side of Country with Travis of 95.9. Go to www.inform.com/community/contest auctions I'm tired of backslashing. Best of the River, Red River Valley 22. Then choose arts and entertainment. Scroll down to best radio station, and then boom, best local show. So that's awesome. I love it. And we are the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. And while we're talking about it, let's talk about programming on KRFF 95.9 LPFM. It's been underwritten by the 12th Annual Fargo Record Fair. The Fargo Record Fair will take place on Saturday, October 15th from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. at the Fargo Brewing Company, located at 610 North University Drive in Fargo. This year, over 45 tables with vinyl, records, CDs, 8-tracks, cassettes, posters, t-shirts, music, memorabilia, and much more. Search Fargo Record Fair on Facebook for further details. Okay, so again, I've told you this is the show that's called Canna Talkin' D with Wilson. I'm Wilson. I highlight cannabis legalization and the benefits of cannabis. I hail from North Dakota, so anything cannabis related as far as legalization and whatnot gets my attention, and we'll talk about that the next segment. And at 420, Jim Shaw, he's a long time, North Dakotan who's been on the news He's a journalist guy. He's a media guy. And he wrote into the Inforum stating why he believes cannabis should be legalized already from a very non-cannabis consumer perspective. I mean, he doesn't encourage it even, and hasn't even looked at it, much less smelled it in his mouth. So we'll read that and we'll talk about it. But again, New Approach North Dakota has a ballot initiative secured, Measure 2, in November, legalizing cannabis up to an ounce. It's going to regulate the sale. They're going to third-party protect you, so they're going to make sure there's no molds and heavy metals and that sort of thing. And then up to 3 plants, which, as we'll talk about at 420, let's just call it the Better Medical Program. That's what Measure 2 is. Measure 2, Medical Number 2. It's the second medical program that we'll get to have, which will way far supersede the current one. Because the current one sucks, and it's a capitalist market, and it's limiting. And again, I believe God put it here for a variety of reasons, a myriad of reasons, dare I say. And that brings me to the sad news. I believe yesterday, Coolio, the rapper with the crazy braided hair and the shiny car, he passed away. Now, I'm not entirely sure yet why or how, but it didn't seem like a normal passing. So rest in peace, Coolio. And so to show my support, here's Gangsta's Paradise. You're welcome, 95.9.
As I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I take a look at my life and realize there's nothing left. Cause I've been blasting and laughing so long that even my mama thinks that my mind is gone. But I ain't never crossed a man that didn't deserve it. Me be treated like a punk, you know that's unheard of. You better watch how you're talking and where you're walking, or you and your homies might be lying to chalk. I really hate the trip, but I gotta low. As they croak, I see myself in the pistol smoke. Fool, I'm the kind of G the little homies wanna be like, on my knees in the night, saying prayers in the street light.
Been spending most of their lives living in the gangster's paradise. We've been spending most of their lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Look at the situation they got me facing. I can't live a normal life. I was raised by the state, so I gotta be down with the hood team. Too much television watching got me chasing dreams. I'm an educated fool with money on my mind. Got my 10 in my hand and a gleam in my eye. I'm a loped out gangster, set tripping banker, and my homies is down, so don't arouse my anger. Fool, death ain't nothing but a heartbeat away. I'm living life, do or die. What can I say? I'm 23 now, but will I live to see 24? The way things is going, I don't know.
Tell me, why are we so blind to see that the ones we hurt are you and me? We've been spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We've been spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise.
Power and the money, money and the power. Minute after minute, hour after hour, everybody's running, but half of them ain't looking what's going on in the kitchen. But I don't know what's cooking. They say I got to learn, but nobody's here to teach me. If they can't understand it, how can they reach me? I guess they can't, I guess they won't, I guess they front. That's why I know my life is out of luck, fool.
We've been spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We've been spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. We keep spending most of our lives living in the gangster's paradise. Tell me, why are we so blind to see that the ones
Oh, man. Rest in peace, Coolio. Man, Gangsta's Paradise. That was the soundtrack for the 90s, wasn't it? Man, oh, man. Gave me goosebumps when I thought about the 90s. What I can remember of it anyway. Kinda Talking D with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here at 4 bells. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and this Thursday's no different, so hang out for that. We're going to talk about New Approach North Dakota and the upcoming ballot measure number 2 that will legalize recreational cannabis. And like I said, basically the better medical program. So, voted on by the people, you know. I mean, and for those of you who don't know, you can't even get edibles through the medical program in North Dakota. And I harp about smoking being the harshest and the least healthy way to ingest or consume a medicine. You know, unless you're nebulizing it, which, you know, do it, bruh. But medically, edibly, is the self, you know, the best way to self-administer a medicine that the medical program doesn't allow you. No, sir. You have to take a lighter and combust that cannabis. Well, I want it for my coughing. Yeah, well, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. You're just going to have to smoke this. You know, so that don't make any sense. So that's going to be something that this Measure 2 will allow. Up to 3 plants you're going to be able to grow. So again, you're going to be able to be in charge of your own crop, you know, your own vegetables, your own plants. You're going to be able to dictate what you want to do in your world when it comes to your plant medicines. So that's exciting. So in November, make sure you vote yes on Measure 2 and tell all your people to do that as well. I don't know what I should talk about now to get us to the musical segment, but I will maybe just read you this quick. This is basically the demand for medical cannabis rises in North Dakota as annual sales top 20 million. Now let me just, we'll talk about more of this. So basically patients has doubled in the last 2 years with about 8,300 qualifying to buy cannabis products. And now a lot of people would like to and they can't. But dispensaries sold about 20 million in cannabis products during the 2022 fiscal year. That's up from 15.3. So that's good. Right? And 6.4 in 2020. So we're doubling and tripling. Last fiscal year, medical cannabis purchase generated about $1 million in state sales tax revenue and nearly $475,000 in local sales tax collections. So that means that the argument that you can, omit how much revenue taxes is going to affect us, the voters, and omitting that and say that, you know, cannabis isn't viable because you decided to not put the taxes there. Just medically alone, the taxes are in the millions. So, I mean, you don't have to, and that's what they say. They go, well, we don't know the unknown variables. We can't include how much we'll get from taxes from cannabis and include that on the ballot initiative. But you can certainly use medical as a template, and there's plenty of tax millions there. I guarantee you that there's going to be more sold recreationally than medically. So don't get it twisted. Don't believe that little sentence on the bottom of the Measure 2 ballot box, and make sure you tell your people not to as well. We're going to get into a jazzy 5 minutes, and then it'll bring us to 4:20, and then we'll talk about cannabis in a positive light. Here's brand new Coast by the Butterfly Quintet. Well, I hope everybody is mellow and zenned out from Butterfly Quintet. That was Coast on KRFF 95.9 LPFM, radiofreefargo.org, streaming everywhere, Indie World, Canna Talk Indie with Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here 4 o'clock. 4:20, I open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's happening right on the other side of this little intro I like to call the intro.
Hey, it's Phil from Cannaheads. Like this episode? Hit that like button. And if you enjoy the show, hit that subscribe button to stay up to date on cannabis news, local and national. Listen live on 95.9 in the Fargo, North Dakota region from 4 to 5 p.m. on Thursday. For our non-Fargo region friends, you can listen on your favorite podcast platform. Just search Canna Talk ND with Wilson. Now enjoy the show.
Well, we'll just get started. Hello, everybody. Hello, howdy. Hi, a big fat hi to each and every one of you. Thank you for joining me on this beautiful Thursday, the last Thursday in September, to talk about cannabis legalization and the benefits of cannabis here for you. Again, New Approach North Dakota has successfully gotten a measure number 2 for legalizing recreational cannabis this November. So make sure you get out and be the trumpet to your surrounding ear holes that may need to know that they can vote for cannabis legalization this November. Up to 3 plants you're going to be able to grow. Up to an ounce you're going to be able to possess without any criminal implication. So that's good. And then there'll be dispensaries and there'll be controlled, product, blah, 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 boop, boop, boop. And like I say, it's going to be the new better medical program because you're going to be able to get way more than you could get if you were actually a part of the medical program. And you can get something that isn't even allowed currently under the medical program, which is the best way to ingest medicine, and that's via mastication, i.e. using your teeth, i.e. orally. And so for me, it's kind of interesting. And now I was reading the reason why North Dakota has failed to allow edibles in a medical program is the spin that everybody loves to use, but the children, we don't want to harm the children. Meanwhile, there's so many things that children can get a hold of. They can trip on a rake, poke their eye out. They can, accidentally, bite onto an electrical cord. We still have electrical cords, you know what I'm saying? And some of those electrical cords look like licorice. That cord looks like candy, dog. But anyway, the medical program, Wall noted that dispensaries do offer some ingestible cannabis products, but he declined to say whether allowing edibles would benefit the program. Of course, he didn't say that. And I'm reading from this article here. Demand for medical cannabis rises in North Dakota's annual sales top 20 million. And if you're wondering, well, would recreational top that? Come on. I can tell you right now, this article I'll get to here is Ohio has sold $1 billion worth of medical cannabis since April 2019. Isn't that crazy? And that's awesome. And we've got other interesting tidbits like that for you. I just wanted to tell you about this article. And so Ray Morgan, the Morgans, they led the charge to get medical cannabis on the ballot in 2016, so he certainly cares about it. But the Fargo resident with chronic back pain told Forum News Service he gave up his medical card just a year after he got it. Now, why would he do that? Morgan said he prefers to ingest cannabis by eating edible gummies rather than smoking, and I concur. But North Dakota's dispensaries are prohibited from offering the products. State legislators have twice rejected proposals to allow the sales of edibles, citing safety concerns for children, which is basically fancy speak for we don't want to do it. So, kids have been the excuse for not pushing, laws and policy forever. And everybody knows it's kind of a joke. That's why they always say, for the kids, they're doing it for the kids. It becomes kind of almost just a casual kind of jive slang because it's just used to get you to do what they want you to do. It isn't necessarily for or against the children. They just know if they can get you to believe that there would be a negative effect and they can use the kids, well, then that you're going to be more inclined to just ignore it and vote no. It's just a ploy as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, so with North Dakota dispensaries failing to meet this dude's needs, he has resorted to buying edibles in other states during his travels and bringing them back home illegally, which why he would tell the Fargo Forum that in an article is nutty. Morgan added that the recent legalization of edibles in Minnesota, and we're going to talk about it, medical Minnesota companies are suing because of the THC edibles you can now have in Minnesota. That's a crazy crazy insanity pudding, and we'll talk about that in a minute. Morgan says he knows other former medical cannabis card holders who were priced out of North Dakota's market by the outrageous cost of buying in dispensaries. Morgan added that the recent legalization of edibles in Minnesota might incline some North Dakotans to buy their products across the Red River. An ounce of cannabis at the state's dispensary often costs more than $400. That's about twice what buyers generally buy in Colorado. And again, I'm putting this comparison to the current medical program and what's going to happen if you vote yes on Measure 2. The price of cannabis won't be as much. Now, there is a caveat that if they add taxes to the recreational cannabis products, it would push more people to get involved in the medical program so they can save money. Now, if they do that strategically, I guess I'm all for it. I don't want a lot of taxes on it, but, you know, you don't want the medical program, I guess, to completely not be necessary. However, they should adjust and make it more available to people. And again, that's the problem. That's why this is on the ballot. You know, as a Christian, I don't want to talk about partying with a particular subject or, product. But if there's a medical use that's wide and, and a wide expanding, has a wide umbrella of use, well, then that's what I'm voting for, you know. I'm voting for its availability because there's so many uses for it. You should just be able to use it or grow it next to your cabbage. So, Wall said prices in North Dakota have come down as the medical program grows, which is good for card holders. He added that dispensaries in the state frequently have promotions that lower the cost of cannabis. I've heard on the streets that the cannabis is no good anyway. It's a crap. Okay, Wall? Your cannabis is crap. Uncrappy up your cannabis, Wall. You know, talk about promotions and lower the cost. I mean, you should be giving it away for as low as the quality is, I've heard. All right, so since cannabis is still federally illegal, most banks fear that backing pot cannabis businesses puts them in jeopardy. So Wall added that the demand for medical cannabis could take a big hit if voters pass a measure to legalize recreational cannabis. Well, it's not taking a big hit. You, the government, the governmental program is going to take a hit. Your little fancy man with your fancy pants, you're going to take a hit. The people won't take a hit. The people are going to benefit because now they're going to have options and they're not going to have to be forced to be screwed over at $400 an ounce for your crap, Wall. That's what's going to happen. The program is going to take a big hit, but the people are going to benefit. So anyway, however, here's the caveat. If lawmakers were to impose a hefty excise tax on rec sales, it could have the opposite effect and drive up medical cannabis sales. So we'll see. But they got no problems talking about taxes when it benefits their argument. Can you see that? You know, but all of a sudden it's an unknown variable and they want you to think that that the taxpayer is going to pay money if they vote yes on Measure 2. So don't listen to them. They're lying. Now, let me read another article and then we'll move on here. This is, like I said, from Jim Shaw. Jim Shaw is an informed columnist. He argues it's high time, good word to play for him, for North Dakota to legalize cannabis. He goes, I've never smoked cannabis and don't encourage it. However, the time has come for North Dakota, like 19 other states, to legalize it, regulate it, and bring in millions of dollars in taxes. See, now he even knows there'll be millions of dollars in taxes. But does every voter? Maybe not. But I bet a lot of people read the Inform, so good on him for making that apparent. So he goes, it's way past time to make rec cannabis legal in North Dakota. Voters in the state should vote yes on the November ballot measure to do so. He's never understood why a person sitting in their home smoking a jizz joint should be charged with the crime. I'm paraphrasing on the word. How is that any different than drinking a beer at home? It's not. In fact, alcohol is much more dangerous. Alcohol can damage the brain and the liver. Excess alcohol consumption has been 140,000 deaths per year from 2015 to 2019. Nobody has ever died from a cannabis overdose. So, I mean, why are we fighting about this? Even Jim Shaw knows. And he's just a regular, normie. We also know that alcohol can make people more violent, while cannabis often makes people more relaxed. Yes, there are downsides to taking cannabis, but if you believe in legalized alcohol, then you should support legalized cannabis. Man, this brain on Jim, huh? The North Dakota measure is the most conservative in the country. It's also much more tightly written than 2018. What's new and improved this time around are tight limits on how much you can possess, how much you can grow. The common sense provisions mean you can only possess a small amount, can grow 3 plants at a home, and can only use in private places. There would be a maximum of 18 licensed dispensaries. Also, just like alcohol, you'd have to be at least 21. Everybody knows all that. He thinks there are also several practical advantages to the measure. First, there are many people in the state with chronic pain who can't get medical cannabis. See, this Jim is smart. I mean, and I'm hoping if just a regular dude like him knows the holes in all this crap, that everybody else will vote yes on Measure 2. That's because there are many doctors in the state who don't believe in it, won't approve it. If this measure passes, those patients won't need a card, and that's what I champion. That's why I'm voting yes on Measure 2. It's if I want to use it for whatever reason I need to use it for, medically, of course, I shouldn't have to jump through a bunch of hoops. Now, again, he's quoted, "I've never smoked it, and I don't encourage it. However, the time has come to legalize it, regulate it, and bring in millions of dollars in taxes." My boy, Jim Shaw. Now, cannabis moment. Colorado and Washington got more tax revenue. Here we are with the tax revenue legislators in North Dakota who doesn't think it will be feasible. Colorado and Washington got more tax revenue from cannabis than from alcohol or cigarettes. Let me say that again. They got more money from cannabis, which you can vote in November, yes on Measure 2, than from boozy booze or smoky smokes in fiscal year 2022. Colorado and Washington State, they took in more revenue from cannabis than from either alcohol or cigarettes. Another 8 states saw tax revenue from cannabis outpace cigarettes, while Nevada took in more cannabis from alcohol. Now get your brain wrapped around that. Nevada, Las Vegas, the city of sin. It runs on booze. It runs on liquor. Except Nevada took in more from cannabis than alcohol. So, I mean, if you were afraid to go to Sin City and all of a sudden everybody was utilizing cannabis for their relaxation and part of their entertainment, it'd be a whole lot safer for children, right? Just imagine all of the booze being consumed at those potlucks and family events where the uncle gets stupid drunk, ends up naked in one of the kids' rooms. You know what I'm saying? That stuff doesn't happen with cannabis. I mean, and we got no problems readily having booze for people to misuse, and it's misused all the time. And certainly in the city of sin, Las Vegas, alcohol's being overtaken. Except finally, cannabis has now took in more revenue than alcohol. So that's great stuff. The analysis published by the Tax Policy Center provides a comprehensive overview, which you can go to Cannabis Moment and check that out. And they've got all the different states that's total tax. But anyway, first, states and localities tax cannabis by weight, sale, whatever. Researchers said that while it's difficult to draw generalizations, Colorado collected $353 million in cannabis tax dollars, just barely edging out cigarettes. But booze, boy, in Colorado, cannabis has way blown out booze. So Washington State, they took in $517 million in cannabis taxes, compared to about $490 from alcohol and $380 from whatever. So that's crazy. But booze, basically $100 million. Cannabis, like $400 million in Colorado. That's awesome. So there you have it. Now, what else we got here? Let's read this. Ohio has sold $1 billion worth of medical cannabis since opening for business, and that's pretty cool. The industry has been growing exponentially, which so is North Dakota. I mean, you look at them numbers, they're jumping by 5 to 10 million every year. So even with that slow start, the industry grew by 273%, created over 4,300 new jobs. So there you go. I mean, all positive things. And again, I mean, show me the percentages of crimes. You know, like give me a sheet, a comparative to fentanyl in neighborhoods and the associated danger, and then show me all these other states that are selling billions and billions of dollars in this supposed harmful thing for the community and infrastructure and the children and all that. Show me, why aren't we seeing those those results? Why don't we get those poll results? Why is there enough naysayers out there, enough prohibitionists? Where are all the prohibitionists that are supposed to be out there scouring these stats to show you how horrible it is cannabis to be legalized. Look at these stats. That's what North Dakota legislators should be showing us, stats from all these other states that have legalized ahead of them. Show me the decline in education, the decline in, in everything. You can't, and they don't. Why? Because it doesn't exist. The only thing that does exist is all the tax dollars that are coming in, and it's trumping booze and tobacco in 8 states. And that's just a small number. Here we got cannabis arrests plummet in New Jersey post-legalization. New Jersey has recorded a precipitous drop in arrests related to cannabis manufacturing. According to the state, March 1st through August 15th in a year, just 34 people were arrested, as opposed to 2,100 people for the same offense 2 years prior to legalization. Post-legalization, there have been 556 arrests in the state for the same offenses of between 1 ounce and 5 pounds, compared to 1,492 in the 2 years prior to legalization. So, you don't have to be very smart to know that that's good news. All right, so this is from MaryJane.com. Oneida Indian Nation, it's out of New York City, or out of New York, is funding healthcare, housing, and education with cannabis taxes. With cannabis taxes, which North Dakota could also have if we voted yes on Measure 2. Have I said that enough? Vote yes on Measure 2 in November in the state of North Dakota to get cannabis recreationally available to the people. The Oneida Indian Nation in New York is launching its licensed cannabis retail program, and it's putting the cannabis tax revenue in the right places. They're doing a seed to sale. It's going to be a 50,000 square foot cultivation production facility. Retail stores on the nation territory go live in the latter half of 2023. The best part, the nation will direct all cannabis tax revenue towards government programs, including affordable housing, healthcare, cultural preservation, and public education and safety. The nation's legal cannabis program will follow the same taxation structure as New York State. It is important that Oneida people not be left out from taking advantage of this economic opportunity. And a lot of native reservations have banned alcohol. So isn't it interesting that they'll embrace something that, ignorant people think is just as bad? So, anyway, the nation's cannabis tax likely won't be as sizable. The nation will not permit public consumption, won't be allowing smoking at any of its casinos. To put into perspective how sensible and forward-thinking the nation's tax plans are, just look at some of the largest cannabis markets, Colorado, whatever. They provided or still provide local law enforcement and regulatory agencies with sizable amounts of cannabis tax revenue. In fact, Colorado, which campaigned its legalization bill, Amendment 64, as a way to fund schools like the state lottery, fell short of those promises in spectacular fashion. In reality, retail weed tax revenues only funded the state's poorest schools. So basically, they weren't doing what they say they were going to do, which is typical. It's typical of thrift stores. They tell you it's all going to a nonprofit organization, and they're only pennies are going, So teacher salaries never factored in and still don't factor into the equation, despite Colorado raking in more than $1 billion in weed tax revenue. So Colorado currently ranks 49th for teacher payout of 50 states. So everybody should take a reference from this stinking Oneida. Now, a medical cannabis company just sued Minnesota for legalizing THC edibles. Now, here's what's so interesting about this thing. It's just the ignorance of the legislators. They didn't read they didn't read the measure or the bill. They didn't read the bill. And now they're acting shocked and angry. So anyway, some of the Republican lawmakers who voted for the bill are shocked and angry that they helped legalize THC products, a situation that could have been averted had they actually read the bill in the first place. And if you don't think we got them kind of cats in North Dakota, you on crack, my friend. You on fentanyl crack. Cracked up fentanyl. But anyway, Minnesota legalized the production and sale of hemp-infused food and drinks. This new law reversed the state's previous ban on CBD products, but it also authorized the sales of edibles infused with psychoactive cannabinoids, including Delta-8 and Delta-9. But what they scammed them on is, scientists have figured out how to derive psychoactive forms of THC from federally legal hemp plants. So basically, Minnesota's medical cannabis industry is mad because the state just unintentionally allowed hemp producers to offer cheaper alternatives to their own products. Vireo Health, two licensed companies, they just sued the state over its new THC law last week. The lawsuit argues that the new hemp regs unconstitutionally discriminate against Vireo in a market for edible products that contains THC. There's no rational basis to create separate legal requirements. Medical cannabis and hemp are the same plant species. THC from medical cannabis is the same as THC from hemp. THC is THC, and it ain't bad, brother. So that's crazy. So we'll keep you posted on that. But man, to me, that was just interesting when they legalized cannabis edibles from THC. But then again, I've noticed stinking Delta 9s too. It's just hemp related. So this is from Cannabis Moment here. You're listening to Canna Talk ND with Wilson. I'm Wilson. Every Thursday I get in here. 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and we're up to our nipples in that particular segment for today. I'll be back in next Thursday here on KRFF 95.9. Cannabis Moment. Wisconsin governor tells students that cannabis legalization depends on their vote. Says state is losing revenue to Illinois. Governor met with college students. He's trying to rile up the youngsters, and we need to too. Governor Tony E. delivered remarks and held a roundtable discussion at the University of Wisconsin, telling students that it's time to enact the reform, but it's only achievable if young people make their voices heard at the ballot. Evers was focused on the election that's coming up in about 6 weeks. Could play a central role. We talk about this often because he's really glad that we have not legalized cannabis, because the taxes that are made in Illinois from legal sales helps them out. Not that any of you have gone to Illinois to buy cannabis, but I bet maybe one of you has. Of course. So that's the thing. You're losing money. And now Mr. Morgan and crew are going over to Minnesota to get edibles, because apparently we don't want to affect the kids. So we're going to force the adults to ingest a combustion, right? Breathe in smoke, which I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying it's a whole lot less healthier than eating it. It just is. You know what I'm saying to you? So this is from Ganjapreneur. Libertarian Iowa gubernatorial candidate releases pro-cannabis legalization ad. Rick Stewart. He called out Governor Kim Reynolds in a recent campaign ad over her position against cannabis legalization. In the new ad titled Dear Kim Weed, Rick Stewart called her out on her position. In the ad, Stewart apparently stood a few miles from the border of Illinois and Iowa and stated that were he to buy cannabis in Iowa, he would be buying it from a crook. But were he buy it just over the bridge, he'd be buying it from a reputable business person. Our laws today in Iowa put people in rape cages because they smoke cannabis. You're going to lose your college scholarship. You're going to lose your job. You're going to lose your kids. You're going to lose everything, because in Iowa we think cannabis is a gateway drug. Well, gateway to what? Stewart said in the ad. He points out that former presidents Barack, George, Billy C., Vice President Kamala, I didn't know, has each admitted to consuming cannabis at some point in their lives. So a gateway to what, he muses? To the White House? Good point. This guy's smart. Vote for him in Iowa. Stewart also appears in front of a cornfield and asks why he can grow corn but can't grow cannabis. They're both plants, he says. Pretty genius, this guy. In the ad, Stewart points out cannabis plants growing in a ditch. It's unclear whether the plants are growing in Iowa or Illinois, and says that God put them there. He follows up by asking Kim why she thinks she's smarter than God. If a farmer wants to grow corn, let him grow corn. If a farmer wants to grow cannabis, let him grow cannabis. So when is the drug war going to end in Iowa, Kim? He asked before facing the camera and answering his own question. Easy answer: the day I'm governor. That was a pretty good ad, and convincing, if you ask me. I'm kind of convinced. So anyway, South Dakota's voting on a cannabis legalization measure. North Dakota is too. I think Arkansas, and then there's a couple others. I think Missouri, Arkansas, North Dakota, South Dakota, and then one other one. So it'll be interesting to keep on tabs on that. So this is Keloland, whatever. This the title's Wreck Cannabis, Both Sides of the Issue. And so they're going to vote on Measure 27. It would legalize the possession, use, and distribution of cannabis for people 21 and older. The state's highest court decided the amendment. Yeah, it's just been a mess. But the Sioux Falls mayor made his stance on the matter clear at a public safety briefing this week. And listen to what this idiot says. If we think that legalizing cannabis in the fall is going to lead to a safer community, we have another thing coming. See, and they just make statements like, oh, well, prove it. Well, what will make the community less safe? Give me an example, Mayor Paul Tenhaken. Give me an example. Show me some state, some city, some town, some county that's struggling with a less safe community in a legalized state. Show me it. Use it as an example. In your quote, you should say, if we think legalizing cannabis in the fall is going to lead to a safer community, we have another thing coming. Just look at the town of blah, blah, blah in Illinois. They have so many this percentages. All their children are in danger. I mean, kids are just stuffing edibles in their big fat faces. Why can't you add that? Add me some stats. Prove it. Prove that we have another thing coming. You can't just say that. What do you mean we have another thing coming? You don't even know what you're talking about. You can't. What kind of thing is coming? What another thing? What is that another thing coming? And from where did you come up with that phrase being, applicable? It's crazy. I don't buy it. But anyway, programming on KRFF 95.9 has been underwritten by Discontent Fargo. Discontent Fargo is your high-class counterculture lifestyle store. Discontent is your destination for the smoke and vape culture, providing a dense selection of artist-based handcrafted, glassworks, vapor products, and lifestyle apparel. Discontent Fargo is located at 512 Broadway in downtown Fargo, open 10 to 9 Monday through Saturday, and noon to 7 p.m. on Sundays. For more information, check out Discontent Fargo on Facebook and their Instagram at Discontent Stores. Well, you have successfully listened to me do another Canna Talkin' D with Wilson every Thursday, 4:20, open a big fat bag of cannabis news, and that's just what we did. Next Thursday, I'll be back in here at 4 o'clock. Usually after me, Stinky Arts Music Mart, but he won't be in here today due to sickness. Then there'll be a couple hours of music, and then Black Ring Ritual wraps up your Thursday. And then come back tomorrow. There'll be other stuff that you probably will be interested in. Now, let me play a little music, and you guys can take your pumpkin spice lattes and stick them in your pie hole. For me, when it gets to this kind of weather, I start playing stuff like this. Weezer, 95.9. Nothing says the cooler shift of winter like Say It Ain't So by Weezer here on 95.9 Radio Free Fargo. Canna Talkin' D with Wilson every Thursday here on your radio dial, talking to you about cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, and the legalization measure attempts towards said cannabis legalization. And measure 2 is that measure in November in the state of North Dakota. So make sure you scurry and bring some friends and your buddies. Maybe that's the same thing. Buddies and friends and buddies, to vote yes on Measure 2 in November to make sure that everybody has has medical availability to utilize cannabis for whatever reasons they see fit, without somebody else deciding why they think it shouldn't be fit for me to do so. I'm getting kind of sick of somebody who's just a human like me telling me what's good for me because it isn't economically feasible for them, or they just don't want to do it because of whatever reason. So make sure you vote yes on Measure 2. I'll be back in here next Thursday at 4 o'clock, spouting the same stuff I do, the benefits of cannabis, blah, 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 blah. This show is brought to you by Black Cottage Alchemy, blackcottagealchemy.com, Black Cottage Alchemy on Facebook. Body Butter is the business. It's also sold at Tochi Products, made with kosher full-spectrum CBD, 1,600 mgs to be exact. Comes with a lot of different butters and natural stuff. It's good on feet, toe and foot fungus, tattoo aftercare, boils, stretch marks, etc. Thank you, Black Cottage Alchemy, for sponsoring Canna Talkin' D with Wilson. Now, I need you to educate yourselves on the benefits of cannabis so you can educate others on said benefits. I am happy to tell anybody who will listen about the benefits of cannabis, because from experience, I can say that it's beneficial. And when I was garnering signatures for the North Dakota Cannabis Caucus back in the day, I mean, there were hundreds and thousands of people that used a health reason that was beneficial for using cannabis. So I'm going to scurry out of here. I got stuff to do. I know you guys find it hard to believe, but you guys be good to yourselves. I'll be back next Thursday here on the best radio station in the world as far as I'm concerned. Radio Free Fargo. This is Canna Talking D with Wilson. I present to you David Allen, Judgment Day. Peace.